And we're on to set 3 and yet another mirror matchup in the set between MBC and SKT1. And this time, after seeing a ZVZ and a PvP, we have a TVT. And we'll see whether MBC is any more successful at this matchup than they have been at the last two. MBC is now in a 2-0 hole after the Zerg beat Shark and Bisu beat Pusan. So MBC now fighting for their life, and they're sending out aLive, who is a fairly decent player, in an attempt to take this third set and keep themselves afloat. This is going to be on Rush Hour 3, and Rush Hour 3 is a very Terran favored map that has seen a lot of TVT action in Pro League so far, because no team really wants to send out their Zerg or Protoss players on this map. There are some new rules, I think, in Pro League that require them to have some sort of racial diversity in terms of their play on any given map, but we're certainly seeing more Terrans played on this map than any other race, and it's easy to see why. It's a big macro map where Terran players can really get their macro going, can defend easily. Lots of narrow bridges in the middle that make it easy for the Terran player to push. Hard for Protoss player or Zerg player to surround them and flank and attack from multiple angles. So in any event, that's all irrelevant now because it's two Terran players. Light for MBC is a pretty decent player, 51% overall lifetime statistics. Not great at TVT. It's actually his worst matchup statistically by a little bit, 46% there, but still respectable. Canata has a similar overall record, 51.3% overall, but a very good TVT record, 60% lifetime statistics in about 50 games total. So I would say Canata is statistically the favorite to take this match. He's the orange Terran at the top left, and Light is the white Terran at the bottom left. So we'll see what happens. Canata's probably the favorite player at this matchup, but anything can happen in a mirror matchup. Little advantages go a long way, and guy there in a funny hat, and it looks like who is that? Canata is both players actually going for outside Raxes. Not for any sort of aggressive early gameplay, I think, but just to be able to float the barracks out and get a slightly earlier scout. So they're building at mirror positions. Gas already up, so you're going to transition into quick factory, and we've seen a decent amount of proxy factories, or at least outside the base factories in TVT on this map. So we may see something like that with that SCV that's building the barracks. It may just switch immediately into a factory as soon as it's done. Looks like, I'm not sure if he has the full complement of SCVs mining gas, which is odd this early. But factory is going down for Light, and it looks like Kanata's gotten the scout in, so he's seeing that. Canata, meanwhile, also has a factory and only one SCV on gas, so no early rush there, and it looks like Light has... Or no, sorry, we're looking at Light's base now. Oh, Canata is going for the two-fact push. He's got two factories going down now. You can see C there is looking on. I'm not sure what he's saying, but with this two-fact push being scouted, I don't know how effective it'll be for Canata. We'll see how Light responds. He is now putting another SCV on gas, but he's still going for that fast expand, and it is being seen by Canata, so Canata may be able to put some pressure on with this two-fact push, even though it has been scouted. We'll see though. There ought to be a well, some sort of response coming from Light relatively soon. And no machine shop as yet, so we may just see a lot of vultures coming out quickly, but I'd expect he'll want to get vulture upgrades relatively soon too. I'm not sure who that is for for MBC. I think those are MBC players. Maybe not. Well, at any rate, Canata is now putting down his command center, and one of the advantages of heading onto those two factories is that he can put it down at his natural rather than inside, because he'll have the forces up to protect his natural early on. There's two factories still just pumping slow, unmine upgraded vultures, so we may see a lot of vulture play, landing the barracks there just to be annoying and keep Light from landing his command center. And those vultures are going to take a long time, but he is lifting up the barracks. I guess he just wants to keep it alive as long as possible. SCV's got being intercepted for Light, but I think it probably did see that command center. Oh! And very clever play there. Canata is lifting off and landing the barracks just to take as few hits as possible while still preventing the command center from going down. Meanwhile, Canata's got his command center all but completed, so he's actually, even though he started his command center later, he's going to have an economic advantage. And lifting up and down and up and down over and over, and he is keeping that command center from landing, and now the SCVs are going to be pulled, and they're going to try to do damage. And you can see in the first-person view, both players are trying to land as fast as possible, and the barracks does go down again. So the barracks is delaying this expansion for a huge amount of time. Finally, it does get down. Meanwhile, we see a third factory going down for someone. I'm not sure who that was on the first-person view, but I would say Canata's given himself a little bit of an advantage with that barracks play. Light has 3 factories, he's putting down a 4th now, and similarly for Canata, and we're seeing just vultures, so we may see an all-vulture game. And we've seen a number of those in TVT lately, and I think they're pretty exciting. I do like sort of standard TVT with mass dropships dropping tanks and Goliaths and vultures and everything on top of each other's armies, but I also like this sort of game with these huge vulture armies building up and then clashing in the middle. And I've said this before, but I'm not really sure why this mass vulture strategy works, because both of the other Terran mech units, tanks and Goliaths, really just rape pure vultures, or ought to anyway. But I guess you know, if you have good enough micro, you can use the mine-laying ability of your vultures to counteract the superior firepower of the other units and just put mines all around the tanks. We do see a lot of players, though, playing with sort of a vulture-tank combination, where they have a lot of vultures, but they're pumping siege tanks out of one factory, and they siege the tanks in the background and use the vultures to screen. And I don't know, I personally think that's the more effective build. We can see Light is not pumping SCVs for whatever reason. I guess he's just trying to get up as many vultures as he can, as fast as he can. So he's laid off the SCV production momentarily, and he figures that well, you know, for every 3 SCVs, that's 2 vultures lost. He's back to building SCVs now, though, so it may have just been a supply bottleneck or something. Still has that barracks alive, floating over Canata's factories. So we'll see. About equivalently sized vulture armies, so I don't think either player is going to be able to press in and do much damage at the moment. And neither player right now is pumping SCVs, so they may be bottlenecking themselves in supply, though it does seem like there are vultures building those factories. So I'm not sure. One of the sort of first pieces of StarCraft 101 type advice that you get as a player is to always